Pokemon Legends came out last week, and honestly, this game is phenomenal. It is the best Pokemon game that I've played since Gold and Silver, and that's quite an accomplishment because that would make it the best Pokemon game in more than 20 years. And there have been a lot of Pokemon games in 20 years. The reason it's the best Pokemon game since Gold and Silver is as the first full adventure that feels new and fresh for the series. With Gold and Silver, the original formula was perfected, and Game Freak just stuck with that formula for 20 years. There was nothing wrong with the formula, and I've enjoyed several entries into the series over the years of that formula, but it was always just buying into the same experience every single time. Legends, for the first time, offers a completely new approach to capturing, battling, and exploring the entire world of Pokemon, and brings back the same joys I had 20 years ago when going through Red, Blue, Gold, and Silver. And honestly, this is a contender for Game of the Year, and it just came out in January. But let's talk about Pokemon Legends. Before we dive too far into that, welcome to the Ogles channel. Thanks for watching today, and hopefully you're enjoying the new Pokemon game as much as I am, because it is truly the best Pokemon game I've played in years. And I mean years. It is a strong contender to be 2022 Game of the Year, if not Game of the Year. And yeah, I know Elden Ring's coming out in like 30 weeks, and let's be honest, it will probably dethrone Pokemon, but we don't know that yet. So let's just take the games we've got so far and talk about why Pokemon might just be 2022's Game of the Year. First off, let's just discuss the exploration aspect of this game. It is as open world as a Pokemon game has ever been. While the entire map is not interconnected with the ability to traverse the entire landscape, each section of the map is completely open world that you can access. And each section is massive and full of wild Pokemon literally just wandering the landscape. When you enter the area, you can go straight for the mission, but the fun is traveling the landscape searching for wild Pokemon to capture and battle and to complete your Pokédex. And the Pokédex is so much more than just capturing the Pokemon now. You get research points for how many times you've beaten that Pokemon, how many times you've caught that Pokemon, if you've caught a larger variety of that Pokemon, if you've seen it do certain moves, and so much more. And once you've done enough tasks for a particular Pokemon, then the entry is deemed completed. I like this so much more because it's like you are truly learning everything there is to know about the Pokemon instead of just a quick capture and move on. Plus, as you are searching for these Pokemon, you get to see them in their natural habitat too. It's very similar to Pokemon Snap in that aspect, except it's not an on-the-rails game anymore or not a set path, and you're free to explore as much as you want. And like any wild animal, these Pokemon can be skittish or attack you, and not just your Pokemon, but literally you, in the fence of their territory. It forces you to be stealthy in the environment if you want to capture them, and also quick to dodge their attacks if they happen to see you. Plus, you also come across basically possessed Pokemon in the environment as well, who are very quick to attack you. And these fellows are much tougher and higher level than their surrounding Pokemon, and it gives more interactivity to the environment of the game, because you literally never know what you're going to walk up to next in the field. I mean, look at those red eyes. Within the landscape, you'll also have to continually search for rocks to bust or trees to shake to get materials to craft your necessary items. You can still buy the items that you want, like Pokeballs and potions. However, it is much more interactive and fun just to search and craft and just build your own items. Plus, it is way cheaper to do it this way. The worlds get to be so large that they eventually give you a Pokemon you can ride on, which helps a ton to cover a lot of ground really fast. But I generally only use these when I've fully explored the area because I don't want to miss anything or an item or a particular Pokemon because I'm going so fast across the environment. It's also through this exploration and completing your Pokedex that you're able to level up your character, which also comes with new crafting abilities for better Pokeballs and higher level caps that you can control your Pokemon. So if the fun of exploration wasn't enough on its own, there are some in-game rewards for your hard work at the same time. The battling system for this game has also been revamped a good bit, with offering now agility and stronger versions of your base attacks. And this allows players to throw off the order of attacks instead of just every other turn, swapping back and forth attacking. And you can get some heavy attacks in, or sometimes the agility attacks, 2 attacks real quick, and it just adds a bit of extra strategy to the battle. Plus, getting to actually walk around your Pokemon as they are fighting instead of just simply watching a cutscene is a welcome addition to the game, because you actually feel involved in what's happening instead of just watching a cutscene basically. And of course, you'll still need to focus on creating the perfect and varied team for yourself, because as the game progresses, The battles actually have a bit of a challenge to them, as opposed to pretty much every other Pokemon game since Generation 2, and also some of those possessed Pokemon, you gotta have some good Pokemon teams in your inventory. Another thing they've added to make this game fresh is the idea of boss battles. Instead of having gyms, which are just glorified versions of regular Pokemon battles, now we actually have giant Pokemon to fight against, dodge from, and interact with. These boss battles caught me completely off guard because Pokemon game has never had anything close to this, and I love me a good boss battle. The idea behind the game was clearly to take everything about Pokemon and make it more interactive instead of a static experience, and this edition goes perfectly into that. I mean, just look at this boss. It was an awesome fight. And of course, let's talk about the story a bit as well. While the story isn't necessarily a great story, it's leaps and bounds above what the usual Pokemon game has. We actually have mystery as to who you even are in the game. We have mystery as to who are the good guys and who are the bad guys in the game. We have a host of characters to interact with, and it's just so much more fleshed out than the usual Pokemon game. Like I said, it's not a great work of fiction or anything, but it's more than enough to keep you engrossed throughout it, and you do want to continue the missions to find out what happens next. Outside the core missions, there are a ton of requests to complete for the people that inhabit the landscape, and while most of them are pretty easy and sort of complete themselves as you're exploring, some are a bit more challenging and take a decent bit of effort to actually finish. But even outside of both of these, there are tons of collectibles to find hidden across the landscape. I haven't 100%ed the game yet, but in order to do so, I'd say it'd probably take you about 60 hours or so. I mean, that's my guess. We can look it up and put exactly how long it says here. But while all Pokemon games have had some things to complete outside of the core story, this is the first one that actually feels fun to collect and actually complete the game. While this game could easily sound overwhelming, it never feels that way. All the additions of requests, missions, collectibles, tasks, and more are all introduced at a near perfect pace. As soon as you are mastering one aspect is when they introduce a new one to keep the game fresh throughout the entire experience without drowning the player in tasks and things to do. I can't tell you how many RPGs I've played where they just dump an endless amount of tasks on you at the start, and it just makes you want to quit the game immediately. It's just overload. A good paced game is way more important than people think, and the pacing of Pokemon Legends is nearly perfect. Now, there are tons of great things in this game, but there's one aspect that some players may miss, and that's the idea of multiplayer battling. It is lost in the game. However, I don't necessarily think that's a flaw. This is a single player experience that focuses on so much more than just battling like some of the older games. This game is about exploring and learning about the areas and learning about the Pokemon and just taking in the whole experience of the adventure. You can still trade with other players, which is fine when it comes to a multiplayer aspect, because it allows you to get a few harder to get Pokemon if your friends have already gotten them. While battling would be cool, it does help push players to actually take in the adventure that this game is offering. Honestly, Pokemon Legends is what could revitalize the Pokemon series for many older players. This game feels geared for people who love Pokemon, but have gotten worn out of the old games and need a fresh take. This game is also as addictive as you can get. You sit down and just play for a few minutes or to complete one mission, and before you know it, hours have passed and you're just exploring the land and finding and learning about the new Pokemon. I honestly never thought I would like a Pokemon game this much, ever again. I always tend to buy them, and I'm never really blown away by them, and I never end up finishing them either, because they get a little bit on the monotonous side. But this is 100% the fresh take the series needs to actually pull players into the game with a really great interactive experience. I don't know how Pokemon can ever go back to what it was after this point. In my opinion, this is the new baseline for any Pokemon game, and it just sets it on a new path for adventure and exploring and interactivity and just awesomeness. It is crazy to think about it, but 2022 could possibly have already given us our game of the year even before January was over. What do you guys think? Is Pokemon Legends possibly your game of the year? Or what other games are you looking forward to as the year progresses? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, go out there, find a great game to play, and just simply have a great rest of the day.